This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Your moment has arrived, Alain Poupart.
Has it?
It has.
You sure about that?
Oh, for sure. Teddy Bridgewater's getting a whole week of work and going to play. He's going to star. So, you promised us.
That's not what I said. You're misquoting me again, as you always do. You're misquoting me.
If he fails us, it's your fault now. Okay? Dolphin Nation, are you listening? He said Teddy Bridgewater would kick some ass.
I said there would not be a significant drop-off. And here's the thing that needs to be made clear.
Significant drop-off from the San Francisco game or?
From Tua, period. Okay. Couple of things that need to be made clear because we live in a black and white society where everything has got to be one extreme or the other. Okay. There are certain caveats. If Tua were playing, it would not be like the Dolphins would go into Gillette Stadium and light up the scoreboard and score 45 points.
No, it's a good defense.
It was golf, correct. So if somebody's going to come back at me and go, well, look, Tua had problems with the New England defense. Yeah, the Dolphins, it's not going to be an easy
these are two top 10 defenses, both the Jets and the Patriots.
Correct. And here's the thing that worries me big time here is Teron Armstead, who's about to be held together by Scotch tape, has added another body part to his list of things that are mentioned in the injury report this week. It's a hip to go along with the toe, the pec, and the knee. Not only that, now today, the injury report comes out. Brandon Shell shows up, limited with a shoulder injury. Limited when you just show up in the middle of the week usually kind of indicates he got injured in practice. Right. Don't know how severe that is. So now you're looking at, based on the history, if Armstead humanly can play, he's going to play. But with a fourth body part now being the Sunday injury report, is it impossible he doesn't play? I don't know. And then now you got the Shell situation. Eric Fisher hasn't practiced in 3 weeks. They're getting pretty thin on the offensive line there. That's a concern.
They've been thin. They've been thin on a lot of stuff throughout the year, bro. This has been like they've got no breaks, bro. Doesn't matter what it is, from owners costing you picks to spotters taking your quarterback out when they didn't have to all the injuries. And this team has had no breaks whatsoever, dude. It's been one of those seasons. I swear, I feel like there's, I don't know, somebody sitting out there with some doll and pinching the Dolphin all the time, because really, dude, it's just been this black cloud over them and just pouring the entire season. It just never gives them a chance to enjoy something nice. It's weird, man.
Well, they had a pretty good run of like a good 2 months where they weren't saddled with injuries and the offensive line injuries. I mean, Armstead's only missed one game since October. It was a San Francisco game and a game where the offensive line actually held up pretty well. And
I don't think it's been that long, my brother, because in the first month you lose 2 in the fourth game, then you go on that 3-funk streak, and then you win 5 in a row. That's when it went well, and then now you've lost 4 in a row. They haven't had no 2 months of anything. The 5 weeks, but even in those 5 weeks, they kept dropping like flies. Brandon Jones, you name it, whatever. Just stuff kept happening to them every single time. Every week they lose somebody, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's the NFL. I'm not buying this. I'm not buying because I look at the list of like a rundown of teams throughout the entire NFL and how much they've been killed by injury. Like Tennessee's gotten.
Yeah, they've been. Yeah,
I mean, like crazy. Now that's a team. So I don't know. And mind you. So I don't know that that's big of an issue. And again, the offensive line has been.
They've been all right. Actually, they've been
all right in terms of injuries. Where they got hit bad is in the secondary. Now, of course, Xavier Howard's also popped up on the injury report today.
Well, listen, they got lucky in the offensive line, actually. Luckily that they had a guy that could play left guard, and they found a guy off the street that can play right tackle. that saved their asses actually, because yeah, they suffered setbacks there, but they actually ended up finding guys that were better than the guys that were playing in those spots. So that actually turned out to be a good thing for them on the O-line. That's one of the things that's been able to kind of sustain itself, overall. The defense, obviously, that secondary has just crippled everything that's gone on with that defense, unfortunately, man. That's been a
That
that's
isn't good enough to make up for it.
what do you do with Tua, bro? What do you do? What would you do if you're in charge of the team, no matter what happens with him clearing or not? Do you think it's responsible to play him at all this season after what should be 3 concussions, even if the first one isn't diagnosed as one?
Well, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I don't pretend to know. I do know that if you get them like pretty close together, it's kind of not ideal. I can tell you that Chris Nowinski, who's like the concussion expert from Boston U, he said 2 things that are pretty interesting. Is number one, he said that there's no way, shape, or form should Tua play again this year.
I agree.
And he also said there's no reason for him to retire. That this notion that
it's stupid.
So I would defer to him.
That's ridiculous. Now, wait a minute. You let him play again, and he suffers a 4th concussion. You might just lose him right there and then. That's it, right there and then. Because
for this year, yeah.
No, I'm talking about permanently. It becomes an Eric Lindros. It becomes a Luke Kuechly situation that you easily get concussed from anything. Because think about it, bro. This last tackle was a normal NFL tackle, and his head got rattled. And that's the kind of tackle that every quarterback should get up with no problem and no side effects. But you got to wonder, from his brain getting rattled the last 2 times, is this compounding the issue? And to me, that's what I think his brain, his head needs the next 7, 8 months off, 9 months. And, where he doesn't face any contact again until September. And then you start fresh again and you give him one more chance to kind of see if he can figure this out.
No, again, what you're saying makes perfect sense. But like I said, I'm not going to pretend to be in it from what I know, from what I've read. And again, deferring to the expertise of Chris Nowinski, it would make sense for the Dolphins to shut him down.
Yeah, it sounded like McDaniel. It sounded like McDaniel was kind of leaning that way, like he wanted nothing to do with the conversation of him playing with you guys yesterday, right?
But the thing, they're not there. There's no point in having the conversation of like, first of all, why don't we wait till he clears the concussion protocol, that he's clear of symptoms, and then maybe the discussion of, okay, when does he come back becomes, appropriate. Right now, it's like the dude's still in concussion protocol. He hasn't returned to practice. So in the return to play steps, I believe step 3 is when there's 5 steps. Step 3 is when you can practice lightly and football-specific exercises for 30 minutes or less, and we're not even there yet. So to me, to have the discussion of when should he play this year, that's way premature,
I'm with you there. Let's hope for the best with Tua, obviously, because we're kind of in the dark right now with all of that. With Teddy now, okay, outside of Teddy, I put out a poll question yesterday, and does Mike McDaniel, what does he need to show you in the next 2 weeks? And 3 of the choices were: you must win a game without Tua. 2, you must be competitive in the 2 games. Or 3, I've seen enough, we're good. Which one would you lean to out of those 3?
Jesus.
Really?
You talk about overreacting, Jesus.
Yeah, you don't think I need to see McDaniel win one of these 2 games, bro. I need you to win a game without
that may not be on him. Again, you're going to play in the next 2 games 2 teams that have very good defenses, and I know the Patriots suck. They're at 7 and 8. Their offense is
both offenses.
The Jets, when they have Mike White's a much better offense, even though
he doesn't score.
But I don't know how. Because you talk about bad luck. I don't know if people realize just how big it was when the Jets lost Breece Hall.
I
I mean,
know.
that was a massive
I'm with you. We talked about that. The kids. That was one of the best
I
draft
mean,
picks in the entire draft, bro. Brees Hall's a monster.
yeah.
But my point is, I'll tell you what I told Marcel. You know, in Top Gun and in Maverick, Goose, and then his son says,
No spoiler
"Come
alert.
on, Mav,
No
show
spoiler
me
alert.
some of that. Show me
Hey,
some of
Joe,
that pilot shit."
no
Well,
spoiler
guess
alert. I haven't seen Maverick yet.
Well, that doesn't matter. That didn't ruin anything for you, okay? In both scenes, it says, "Hey, Mav, show me some of that pilot shit." You know that line, right, from Top Gun? Well, that line gets repeated in Maverick. Wow, I'm sorry I ruined it for you. But anyway, I got to turn that line on McDaniel. Show me some coaching shit, bro. Show me that you can win without Tua. Show me these two offenses are terrible. Yeah, you're playing great defenses, but your balance is that your offense is superior to theirs. So find a way to win one of these two games. For me personally, that's a requirement. If he doesn't win one of those two games, he goes under double secret probation next year with me. Okay? Because his abandonment of the running game this year has been unacceptable at times where he could have helped his team out. He made a bunch of other questionable decisions like Brandon putting Brandon what's the name of Braylon Sanders in a position that he wasn't ready to play. He refuses to use Mike Gesicki. That if you're a coordinator, bro, that's a weapon. Find a way to get him in there. There's a bunch of things that I can talk about with him that I'm like, I love what you did with the offense, but your offense overall, brother, you inherited a 9 or 10 win team. And they gave you everything on offense. They gave you Tyreek, and they gave you Cedric, and they gave you Wilson, and they gave you Mostert, and they gave you Teron Armstead, and they gave you Connor Williams, and they found Brandon Shell in the middle of the season, and they had Robert Jones ready to go for you. They've given you everything to run your offense. They even gave you a capable backup quarterback that you think is an ass kicker. And so you've got everything that you need on offense. Your defense every week does just enough for you to win. You got to win one of these two games, man. You got to win one of these two games with Teddy Bridgewater. You got to show me that you can do some coaching. Overall, you failed with the 3 games without Tua. These last couple of weeks, you've made some very questionable decisions with the offense. I got to tell you something. I like McDaniel overall. I'm not quitting on the guy or anything like that, but it's a stain already on his season that he's not going to win more games than Flo. And with all the offense, dude, I need you to win one of these two games. I'm sorry.
Well, again, this is we go back to my point of it's one extreme or the other. Can we see exactly how the games play out?
Oh no, listen, if it's all craziness and injuries and bad luck, I won't blame it on him.
Well, that's where I am. Have I liked every single thing he's done? No. Okay. I think
I blame Buffalo on him.
Let's not. Well, here's the thing. Also, we're very quick to say, and I agree with you that he's abandoned the running game at times too much. But I think this notion of like, had he not abandoned the running game, they would have run for 200 yards every game. I think that's a little.
No. But in the Buffalo game, you had it going on. In the Green Bay game, you had it going on. There was no reason. You're facing great quarterbacks. Keep their asses on the sidelines as spectators, bro. And you came up with all these 3rd and shorts, and you did it again in the damn Green Bay game. You're gouging them for 9 yards a carry, 3rd and 3, and you abandon it.
They had 1 3rd and short against Green Bay. They had 1 3rd and 3 against Green Bay. That's it. No 3rd and 2, no 3rd and 1. So
wasn't it 3rd and 3?
Sorry,
wasn't it 3rd and 3?
It was 3rd and 3. The one to Tyreek Hill down the field. That's the only one.
That's what I'm saying. But you were in a groove running at that moment. Right there, Stella had her groove. Is my point.
That's funny.
Come on, man.
No, I'm not ready. And
I'm not ready, but I'm just saying he's on double secret probation next year with me. If he doesn't win one of these two games,
decisions in either of the next two games, I'm fine with that. That's fine. I thought you were going to go ahead and then get ready to dump him already after 1 year.
No. I love Mike McDaniel. I think he's a really good coach. I think he has a lot of potential, but because he's a young coach, he's also made some really obvious mistakes, and I need him to polish some of that stuff up. And I got to see you win with some adversity, bro. Without your quarterback, other coaches have done it throughout the year. You got beat by a third stringer in San Francisco. I'm sorry, bro. You got to show me, and you don't got a schmuck. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater knows his game, knows the game, bro. He's a pro's pro. He might not be super gifted. I get all of that, but he's still a pro's pro. So you're not. It's not like you've got the third stringer playing this week. Okay, now your back's against the wall.
Okay,
This
but Big
kid's-
O,
come on.
I wrote about Teddy yesterday, and in it, I referenced the 3-game losing streak earlier in the season where a lot of people, I'm not going to name names, are suggesting, well, they lost because Tua wasn't there. Well, sorry, but excuse my French, that's bullshit. Okay, because there were a lot of other factors involved. Number one, that they didn't get one takeaway on defense, which a defense that you hold in a lot higher regard than I do. I think they've been okay, but they haven't been anywhere near as good as they were last year or the year before.
All I've said is they give you a chance to win every single.
But at some point, it's got to be more than that. Now, one takeaway in those 3 games, in the 3-game losing streak, and they've had 2 games this season in double digits in penalties. And guess what? It was a Jets game and the Minnesota game. And I see
where you and I differ with a lot of people. I know who they are. They're not very good. I don't have a lot of hope for them. I'm sorry. Bradley Chubb has been a disaster. X is a shell of what he is. That entire secondary is injured. The safety has to kind of put everything together. Kohu's been a nice find. Their linebackers are nothing overall. They can't put pressure on the quarterback, and yet they keep you in every game. I don't know what more you want from them.
I want them at some point to actually. Well, no, there have been games when the first game against New England, the defense won that game, and I would make the case that the Buffalo game,
that offense is not I guess you want it, but I'm not impressed. You stopped that offense. You know what I'm saying?
No, but they also got a defensive touch. They got a defensive touchdown, and they held them to 7 points, so they won that game. Yeah. What I'd like to see, which hasn't happened in a while, is and they won the Pittsburgh game, the defense. But
again,
since the losing streak started, I'd like the defense to maybe come up a little bit, which hasn't happened.
Bro, the Buffalo game, they gave you the late turnover, and the offense shit the bed. 3rd and 1, you instead of running, you passed and you killed the drive. I mean, they made the play that you needed, bro. They made the play you needed, and you continually failed in that game. I don't know, man. I have a hard time just throwing them under the bus because I kind of know who the hell they are in a way. I just don't have a lot of hope for them. I don't have a lot of expectations. You guys you have more expectations for them, so that's why you're kind of more pissed at them. Where I get more pissed at the offense because I think that's where the real talent is, and that's the unit that has to carry you, and it doesn't carry you enough. It complements, but it doesn't carry enough, and that's where I think McDaniel fails at times.
But my expectation is that this defense absolutely needs to get the job done and shut down or get some things done against the Patriots and the Jets, who you just said.
Yeah, the offense. Yes, you're right. Yeah, these offenses are lesser offenses, so you have a better chance. You are correct, 1,000% right. This isn't as hard a job for the defense as it was the last couple of weeks dealing with those monsters in Allen and in Rodgers. Which, Jesus Christ! All right. Yeah. So, do you have them winning one of these next 2 games? See, that doesn't kill your predictions in the paper. It doesn't kill your predictions in SI. When I always bring this up, you're like, well, I haven't made my predictions yet. So you're not telling them if they're winning this week or next week, but you are going to tell them if they're going to win at least once over the next 2 weeks or not. So
I have a hard time believing that they're going to lose both. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you too. They better win both. They better win one of the 2. If they win both, that's pretty freaking awesome by you and Mike McDaniel, because if they win both, that means your boy kicked ass. Okay? If they win both.
The team played well. I've always said it's not all about Tua, and it's not going to be all about Teddy. That was part of my point. You're right. You're right. I expect him to play well, and I would encourage you to rewatch that Minnesota game where when he's not running for his life because the offensive line was so horrible that day without Armstead, I mean, he is actually better than I remember. When I made the comment to you, I was going off what I remembered from the Minnesota game, and then I rewatched it to make sure I wasn't crazy with what I had seen. And Sinelli hadn't kicked in and goes, am I completely off the mark here? And I rewatched the game and I was like, damn, he was good. I mean, he was good. We're behind a crappy offensive line that day.
Well, he's going to get a better one this week at least. If
Armstead plays, and that's
something tells me he'll play, dude. He's a warrior, bro. Much respect for him this year, man. Much respect. Wow, yeah. Jesus.
But it's like
that's
one
impressive.
Injury after another for the dude. Jesus.
I know. That's been the whole season. It's just that's just what's taken the wind out of the sails out of all of this, man. All the damn injuries for this team this year. It's just been crippling. And then on top of that, with your quarterback, that's the one guy that you really can't lose. And it's just been absolutely brutal. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can go to alldolphins.com where every Dolphin fan on the planet needs to bookmark?
Shortly after we wrap this up, I'm going to do a notebook with several items from today. Earlier today, I did a mailbag. I'm going to call out for questions for another one later tonight. I did a opponent breakdown. My colleague Mike Debate covers the Patriots for our sister site on the SI Fan Nation Network, Patriots Country. So a whole bunch of good stuff and a lot more to come.
By the way, before I brought you on, I went and called my guy Will Carroll to have a little fun with this because he works for a company that creates these sensors that they put all over athletes and baseball players specifically, and it tracks all their pitches, the velocity, their wear and tear on their body, their muscles, everything, all of that. So the funny part is, because I talked about this earlier with on the show, that the NFL, if they really wanted to, can have a helmet with sensors that, inside the helmet that could connect to your brain when you put it on, and they could track any kind of punishment and any kind of trauma and all that. But that's not it. And I called Will to find out, hey, and he says that the technology already exists in helmets, in mouthpieces, and in chin guards. Okay. But the NFL doesn't do it. And, it's like, you think boxing's going to put on some kind of a light helmet or like some kind of a thing to track, punishment to the head, when, in boxing matches, there's probably 2 or 3 concussions in every boxing match, or MMA or wrestling or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's funny that they really could take it to the next level if they wanted to. But imagine one of those helmets on a lineman or a linebacker or a running back, Alan.
No, I hear you, but again, it's like, and we're at the point right now where by now anybody who plays football professionally knows the risk they're taking.
Yeah,
and nobody's forcing them to do it.
That's right.
And that might be cold. And the other thing is, unlike MMA, it's funny though, because sometimes you hear like, I remember like several years ago they were talking about they should ban football and all that. Well, I mean, Jesus. The thing is, the purpose of football is not solely to beat the crap out of the other guy. Like, whereas boxing and MMA, the sole purpose is to knock the shit out of the other guy.
Yeah.
But
right.
Everybody's fine with that because people understand the risk. Well, it's the same thing with football. I mean,
yeah, listen, like I talked about earlier with Tua a couple months back, minors are at risk. Race car drivers are at risk. Mountain climbers are at risk. FP&L men and women that are climbing up on those towers and all that stuff, they're at risk. Window washers are at risk. I mean, pilots are at risk. There's a crap ton of jobs that make a hell of a lot less money, and those people are all at risk. One way, or is a lifeguard not at risk? Yeah. Hell yeah, they're at risk. So, it's just, let's not make it sound like that's the only job that's at risk when there's a lot of people earning a lot less and putting a lot on the line every damn single. I mean, listen, my uncle died from asbestos. You know how he got asbestos? He was a dump truck driver. Guess what? He worked the wrong lot to unload and throw away the torn down building. Why? Because he was probably taking asbestos to the dump site back and forth and breathing all that shit in, and he ends up getting asbestos.
Yep.
Just driving a truck. That's it. Just driving a truck.
No, it completely sucks. It'd be awesome if every player could go through every single NFL season without any injuries and everybody would be available all the time. But
it's not reality.
It's part of the game, and they all know what they signed up for.
Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. He's an excellent follow, and he does a great job of covering the Dolphins every single day for Sports Illustrated and twice a week here for our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Alain, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up next week.
Next year, too. Happy New Year.
That's right. Happy New Year next year. That's right. Happy New Year. Thank you, Alain. Appreciate you. EJD Construction. We've been telling you about EJD Construction for many years now, and several of you are already calling Eric in Dade or Broward, by the way, not in Palm Beach, only Dade and Broward. I apologize, those of you in Palm Beach that have called Eric, and he goes, bro, you got to tell him that I'm not in Palm Beach. And so those of you that are in Dade and Broward counties, you need to upgrade that roof right now because you're trying to renew that insurance policy, that hurricane protection, and the insurance company's telling you, wait a minute, your house is older than 20 years. You've got to upgrade that roof. Call EJD Construction, full contractor, custom home construction, major home remodeling. He can build an entire house for you if he wants. Want to build a second floor? You can do that. An extra room? He can do that. Whatever it is you need to do. One of our listeners has an observation deck on top of his house. That's actually a really, really cool idea. 305-433-4843. Call him. That's his cell number. So you got the owner's personal cell number, fully insured, by the way, liability and workers' comp, so you don't have an issue. And I'm telling you, even if you don't hire EJD Construction or our other friends, Cutter's Edge Pro, they're on this platform because obviously they're great sponsors and they support us and we love them. But we also know that they're fully insured, protecting you, the customer. Don't hire anybody, okay? You don't want to hire EJDconstruction.com. You don't want to hire CuttersEdgePro.com. That's fine with me. But if you're going to hire somebody in that line of work, please, I beg you, make sure they're fully insured and that they prove it to you. Because if one of their workers gets injured, they can sue you. So call responsible people like EJD Construction, 305-433-4843.